Howdy, partners. Welcome to Red Dead Redemption 2 Deep Dive. This is a special podcast. Watch out, there's a snake in your boot. It's spoiler filled. I feel so bad doing this. Holy shit.
Oh, you made me have tuberculosis. You gave me
God.
tuberculosis, Geoff.
Well, darn tootin'. Anyways, thank you all for joining us tonight. It is going to be a spoiler-filled discussion. If you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 5, please
Red
turn
Dead
away.
Redemption 5.
Red Dead Redemption 5. Yeah, that's right. There's that many that's come out since it came out originally, Jim. Join tonight with me. I got Mr. Jim. I don't know, Desperado Keel. I've got Nick. I don't even know, man. I don't even know what title to give you. And I'm just your humble narrator.
They called him boss.
I
Yeah.
can leave.
We can just call. You want us just to call you Chief for the whole night?
Chief? I mean,
Chief.
talking about Red Dead, I think that's appropriation.
Damn. Yeah, so basically, long story short, Jim just finished Red Dead Redemption 2.
And the last horse crosses the finish line.
Took him, I don't know how many years.
Fucking 5 years later.
Nick, I'm gonna be honest with you. I assume you've played it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I got it when it came out and played it on PlayStation.
I played it on Xbox One.
I played it on PC.
But why didn't you play it on the Switch?
Well, so a year ago, I would have said, well, if they'd come out with it, I would definitely do it. But now, no, I would never in a million years do that.
I'm just an aside, and I'm going to say this every time now. Anytime I hear like a new release for a Switch game, I'm like, but why?
like a big release, like a Skyrim or like a Witcher, stuff like that. Yeah.
I mean, like, if they were like, oh, yeah, by the way, we're putting Starfield on the Switch. I'd be like, whoa, good fucking luck with that.
The new side-scrolling Kirby game you're okay with.
Yeah, if it's like, well, I mean, I say Nintendo, produced and created. I realize that Pokemon is not technically Nintendo, it's Game Freak.
But basically Nintendo.
it's basically Nintendo. And
there hasn't been a Pokemon game on a regular system, or not a regular system, but a right?
I don't. Are you asking if it's never been on a non-Nintendo system?
I mean, besides mobile games.
Oh,
Pokemon?
Yeah.
Yes. Because the that pedometer that acts like the Pikachu thing, and you could feed your Pikachu. That's technically not a Nintendo system.
Yeah, that's a Tamagotchi.
It's not a Tamagotchi. It's got a pedometer.
Wait, I thought it was. I thought it was
never had
made.
That.
I thought it was made by Nintendo, though.
What was the other one?
Nintendo or just sold by Nintendo?
I want to say it was made by them. Like,
what was the other Tamagotchi?
If we're getting into the nitty gritty,
Gigapets.
Yes, Gigapets.
If we're getting into the nitty gritty, do they probably like have someone else manufacture it for them? Probably. But I mean, I don't know. I feel like the Nintendo Switch itself was kind of a combination of multiple things. Like, that wasn't necessarily their technology.
Well, then if I'd say that, yes, it was made by Nintendo, but you'd have to call it a Nintendo system if you put it in line as a portable system, like Game Boy, DS,
I was
the
gonna
Pokemon
say,
pedometer thing.
I was actually going to say the closest thing to me is Game & Watch.
That's Nintendo.
Which is Nintendo. That's what I'm saying.
Nintendo. But that's considered in their hierarchy. Like, you see that at the Nintendo museum that they have.
I don't know. It's kind of like the bongo drums for the Donkey Kong game.
Okay, well,
Just an
I don't
accessory.
want to derail it too much, but since we're talking about Nintendo and how shitty their hardware is, um, I just saw like a friend put up that Microsoft Nintendo
Yeah,
negotiated the 10-year
Yeah, I
legal
just
agreement.
saw that. Yep.
yeah.
So I was telling my friend, and he's diehard like Nintendo fanboy. Like
More
they
than
can do
me?
no wrong in his eyes.
Oh,
But
then yes, more than me.
I was telling him that this is like really smart and really shitty of Nintendo because in that agreement they say like what's the exact wording here? Okay, so that equal access to Call of Duty, and they have to release like their Call of Duty game same day as Xbox with full feature and content parity. So the thing is like always Nintendos have l- less capable hardware. So either Activision has to turn into wizards of coding to get everything
No,
running the same way,
no.
or they have to completely like gut all the other consoles just so it matches with Nintendo.
As they
No,
should.
I think you're forgetting
I'm
one
I'm
thing.
Oh, I'm
clearly
gonna tie
joking.
you to the railroad tracks and
I
just
clearly am
watch.
joking.
I'm gonna tell you one thing that you're completely forgetting.
Oh, what's that?
Streaming.
Streaming?
Yeah, they're gonna because just like Kingdom Hearts, for instance, um, you can't play that on the Switch. Like that collection, it's
Mm-hmm.
streaming only. There's a lot of Switch games that have made that like technical, like quote unquote leap to where they're like, hey, we can't technically get this to run on the Switch, so we're just gonna have it be streaming only.
Oh.
So that in my mind is how they're going to achieve that. That's
Oh, okay, okay.
that's the loophole.
Okay.
And
I
I
like
say
that.
and I say it's a loophole as well because I don't know if you also saw, but they signed an agreement with Nvidia to do the same thing. They're bringing all of the games, including all of the Bethesda games, they're bringing all of those to streaming on GeForce Now. So same concept to me. They're going to allow you to do streaming on both systems.
Yeah, so but I feel like the people that's in places with like really shitty internet
Oh, it's going to be
that can't
horrible.
get that,
It's
they
going to be
couldn't get
horrible.
streaming or they couldn't get like a really beefy rig.
Yeah, like it's going to be a terrible experience because think about it. Like the Switch to me is more of a portable system than anything else. Like that's the main appeal behind it.
Oh yeah.
So if you take that factor out, you have to be either on constant Wi-Fi or on a hotspot in order to even play like Call of Duty, for instance. At that point, is it really worth it? Um, I don't
Like
think
you're
so.
still tethered. You couldn't play it on a train in a tunnel in your
Yeah,
bathysphere. Yeah, yeah,
right.
I get it.
So
Oh, that's that.
yeah. So that has been our brief gaming news update section for the podcast. Um So, Jim, I'm gonna take a little bit of the thunder out. Why is this your favorite game of all time?
So
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Why are you putting words in his mouth?
no, it's
Oh,
absolutely true. I have said this. It is my favorite game of all time. I can't deny it. I can't be like, I don't know. I'm when I'm told I should like something, that person who tells me that I would like it usually is right. I wear my tastes and emotions and thoughts on my sleeve, and I don't hide it. I don't, nothing like that. But like, it took me so long to find this game on my own, and really, uh, it was TikTok and like randomly getting like it is, dude. It randomly
this
getting
makes me
just
so upset.
like and that yeah, that's definitely an insult to Geoff.
Holy shit.
But it did, and it I had to see it. I had to see people going in with just throwing knives and just obliterating people.
Yeah. So
Um,
why don't you describe some of the TikToks that invigorated this
Oh
flame into you?
God.
so
Just tell us about them.
the throwing knives, just going through a house and stuff like that, that you're robbing either them playing online or going through a story mission. But really, like, being able to just annihilate clan members is
Oh yeah.
is
That's
really
always fun.
like something that I wanted to do for sure. And this is the safest and legalist way I can do it. Um, but then just like, I don't know, like it was on my wish list. Okay, can I go back to the beginning, the very beginning?
Yeah, I mean, you may as well. You
All
already
right.
Okay.
So
ruined it
when
with
you were
fucking
born in Las
TikTok.
Vegas,
I was not born in
was it
Las
like?
Vegas. I don't know why you always think that, but I was gifted a copy of Red Dead Revolver on the PS2 at some point. I don't know when, if it was like new or whatever.
Lucky.
That game is primitive as fuck. The main character is clearly John Marsden, but they call him something else.
Red Harlow.
Red Harlow.
It's completely different
Which
character.
but the scars, come on, man. Yeah, come on. Which I don't know if either of you got it. And again, we're going all spoilers. But did you get to did you get the like the rando person camping that like told you the story about their relative Red Harlow?
Maybe.
Hold on a second.
So there is a person that is camping that you can run into, and they'll if you can dissolve the fight between you two, of you just like talking on the if you infiltrating his camping ground, he'll tell you about his. We have to start over.
No, we don't have to.
No, we have to start over right now. So we were talking about the Nintendo Switch.
Oh my god. No. So if you can make nice with the guy whose campground you're infiltrated with, and you sit down and talk with him, he'll tell you about his relative Red Harlow. And he doesn't know where he is now or anything like that. So that's Red Dead Revolver. It's if you've never seen gameplay footage, or you've never seen it, play, or never played it, it's brutal. It's like very bloody. It's very very primitive. Basically, your Red Harlow, your parents are murdered in front of you, and it's you getting revenge. It's every revenge plot. Then Red Dead Redemption came out for the Xbox 360, and that was my favorite game for a really long time.
I love that game.
I love that game. I adore that game.
I
have
super pissed that they never brought it officially to PC.
Nope. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bummer, because I would play that game today. The Undead Nightmare, like, I love it when games don't come out with a ton of DLC, but I don't need it to be more of the same shit. And just, they did such a great job with the Undead Nightmare DLC, the story, and like the revenge of Jack, getting redemption on his father. There you go. And then like just all the, if you've played Red Dead Redemption 2 but not Red Dead Redemption, the guy who killed your father meets you as a little boy on the beach, and it's just full circle where you catch him fishing at the end of Red Dead Redemption and kill him. Like, it's just fucking crazy. Then Red Dead Redemption 2 came out, and I pre-ordered like the big collector's edition. Got it, unfortunately, like, loaded it up on a PS4 with crappy internet, and it took me all night to load in the game. And so I played it the next morning and fucking hated the prologue. Hated all the snow, and the game had just come out, so I wasn't really looking at, when does this end, and so on and so forth. But then I did start seeing reviews, and I started seeing people talk about just how big it is, and how you have clean you if you want your guns to work better, you need to clean them, and you need to take care of your horse, and it seemed like I just want to play a game. I don't want to. That's why I don't like games like Minecraft or any game like where you have to do work. I want to play a story of a game, and I think some shitty reviews just kind of overwhelmed me, and so I was like, this game clearly is an achievement, but it's not for me. Then TikTok comes around, and I start seeing clans people falling off of mountains and getting burnt up and brutally stabbed, and all the hilarious shit that can happen. And then I saw how minimal taking care of your weapon really is, and taking care of your horse really is. And it was on a super duper discount on Steam. Plus I had a gift card, so I didn't pay anything for it. And I have not been more sucked into a game like this, and like the fact that I'm done with it, and I literally am like, okay, gonna start over again and play it all over again, and just play it with a different strategy, or play it with the mindset of like, oh, I've played this before, I know what to expect, and I know what to do now from the beginning to make sure that I can like have a great playing experience, even though my playing experience was phenomenal the first time. That's my history of the game, and I do wish I would have played it right from the get-go when it first came out, but it is what it is.
And
I have some complaints. They're very minimal, but
well, what are your complaints then?
The music. I wish there was more of it, because it's so fucking good.
Yeah, I will say
it reminds me of another favorite video game of mine. That is a very different type of game, but it reminds me of the game Firewatch. The music in that is almost perfect, and it's very similar. It's like Red Dead Redemption 2 soundtrack is like a more stripped down version of Firewatch's soundtrack. If you don't believe me, it's all on YouTube. Listen to it while you're just like reading or just hanging out. It's so good.
But because Firewatch wasn't, you've already said it's not the same type of game, but the music fits so well with Firewatch, especially if you take the music out of that video game and you said like while you're reading or just chilling or hanging out, it works very well for that, because Firewatch is just, it's kind of a walking sim, but it's super narrative, while Red Dead is supposed to be like an action game.
Well, yeah, it's a completely different type of game. It's just the music when you're traveling, for instance. Like there are a lot of times where it's just the music is the nature around you. It's hearing the streams and hearing the animals and listening for maybe people talking. And with Firewatch, that music is there because there is nobody around you. It's an indie game. It's a very small game, and it's while it is technically you don't have to do certain things in a certain order, you still are kind of pushed that way by the music. But you can beat that game in 3 hours. You cannot beat Red Dead Redemption 2 in 3 hours. Hell, you can barely get out of the prologue in 3 hours.
Oh, okay. So the music, that was one of your gripes.
That's honestly, as of right now, that's my big gripe.
Adding the prologue.
The prologue is a slog, and I wish that if I tell for anybody that like has a desire to play that game and is listening, please know that the prologue is not very fun. It's you're gonna meet some integral characters like Sadie. And, well, I mean, you're gonna meet all your characters, but like it's where you come across Sadie, who is going to be a huge factor for you throughout not only this game but the post game and so on and so forth. And also, if you've already found all the gold bars in the game and already done like all the bounty missions, you're kind of stuck on how you make money in the game, which is, I guess, where Red Dead Online goes to, or if you want to start the game over again. But yeah.
Mm. Well, I something like popped into my head when you immediately said that you did not like the prologue. That's what took you like way out of it the first time. Uh, you're a Tarantino fan, ain't you?
I am, yeah.
You do like the Tostatino?
I do. I
Um,
do.
he came out with a movie.
He sure did.
Uh,
He's come out with 9 movies.
Nobody cares. So he came out with the movie The Hateful Eight.
Yes.
You've seen that?
I have seen it. I've seen it as a movie, and I've seen it as the 4-part miniseries on Netflix.
They made it a 4-part miniseries.
Yeah, and it's a better way to watch that movie.
Oh, okay.
Each it's 4-part. Each is 1 hour long. It's very good.
So
I
oh,
couldn't stand that movie.
It's a lot of people. Again, watch the miniseries. It's better that way.
why is it better that way?
Is it just because it's
just is
recut?
paced better. And and number one, it doesn't cut anything. It's the entire movie as it was shot. Plus, man, I don't want to go on a tangent. That movie was like marred to have issues from the very get go, from the script being leaked to Quentin not gonna make it because of the script being leaked. Then he just, due to like pressure and due to like fan popularity, he did a live reading of it, and it was just so overwhelmingly positive that they were like, all right, let's just make this movie. And yeah, it just, there's a lot of issues with that movie. But I would say, as like, it's one of Tarantino's best when it comes to just movie making. Oh, and also it was filmed in like it had to, if you were going to be in a theater, it had to be in a theater that had certain equipment.
The
That,
16
and then
millimeter.
70 millimeter.
It was 70
Um,
millimeter
70 millimeter.
because that's
And
the one that I
so,
saw it in.
and what's that?
I saw it in the 70 millimeter. Like
That's
I
what
had
I
a
saw it
friend
into.
who really wanted to see it, and that got the poster and everything. I think we saw it at the Edwards on Greenway.
That's where I saw it. Yeah. And so, and also, just to go on a little bit of a tangent, they were supposed to have a 2-week run at the LA Cinerama, right? The Cinerama Dome.
Mhm.
It's a very legendary theater. It's been there since, the 50s. Well, Disney had a deal with them to have 2 weeks for Star Wars Episode 7. And then the next 2 weeks was supposed to be Hateful Eight. Well, Disney was like, no, we're gonna keep it in the theater the whole time. We're gonna extend our deal. And because it's Disney, and because it's Star Wars, the Cinerama Dome is like, what are we supposed to do? And then Disney said, if you show Hateful Eight at the LA Cinerama Dome instead of Star Wars Episode 7, we will not only pull Star Wars from this theater, we're going to pull all Star Wars and all Disney properties, every single property owned by your company. You can't operate as a theater without that.
Yeah, you can. It's just called adults only.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but if your whole thing is like, you're a family friendly theater, so that is what made Quentin Tarantino vow never to work with Disney or anything associated with Disney ever again. So yeah,
Hmm.
that movie had a lot of hurdles it had to jump through, but
Especially because
ultimately,
they didn't get your ticket money because you asked for it back. I
I
mean, you
didn't have.
saw the beginning of it and it was all snow, and you're like, why the fuck is there all this snow?
Okay, now back to that.
People
Now back to that.
walking
Now
in on their
it's
horses
a
and
slog of a
lanterns and
movie.
shit.
It is a slog of a movie. It most of it takes place. It was filmed right outside of Telluride, Colorado. The outside shots, but then once they get to that cabin, I mean that's all a soundstage in Hollywood that was kept at 35 degrees. It's just so. I mean, it's a tough movie to get through, but there are some. I mean, it's a great movie. I still think it's a great movie. But the difference between watching that movie and playing Red Dead Redemption 2 is I'm playing. I'm in a whitewashed, dark, I'm moving slow. Um it just it was tough, and it just seemed like it went on for so long. Um and also I'll tell you this. The game came out in 2018 or 2017?
2017.
2017?
Yeah,
I
probably.
think so.
Jim in 2022, which is
2018.
when I got the game, 2018. Jim in 2022, 2023 is very different than Jim from 2018. Um, so, I mean, I don't know how I would have reacted if I would have played it for the very first time now versus then. No,
Yeah.
I don't know. I know in 2018 I was playing a lot of very um, dynamic JRPGs like the E series and stuff like that had super hyped up, heavy, fast paced music and just like crazy visuals and so on and so forth. And this is, it's like watching um, a Sergio Leone film, or like or listening to an Ennio Morricone soundtrack, or something like that.
I mean,
Mm.
it's hard for me to like, because when I was in film school for a bit, we were required to watch quote unquote the classics. So you had to watch like The Searchers, for instance. That was
Oh, I
apparently
love that movie.
that was a big one that we had to watch, and then we had to watch. I
Mm.
always forget the name of it. The Red Bud. What is the thing with Red Bud?
What?
Black and white film.
Oh, you're
Oh,
thinking of
Rosebud.
Citizen Kane.
Citizen
Citizen
Rosebud.
Kane.
Kane.
Yeah, yeah.
Rosebud. Yeah, not Redbud. Sorry. I had to watch Citizen Kane, things like that.
That movie's boring as shit.
It's hard for me to watch older films like that because they were built with a different pacing back
Sure.
then. And I'm not saying I need like Fast and the Furious type action things to get me going. But it yeah, it was hard to get through that initial scene, and like we talked about this at length when I first started the game, like when it first came out. Yes, it was hard to get through. All the reviews said that the prologue was the worst part of the game, opinion.
And it is.
Um, because it's trying to do that job of getting you to know characters and trying to have you be invested in characters
Right.
for the long haul. I think it could have been done a lot better. Glass Onion did a really great job, in my opinion, of showing all the character introductions very quickly. Like you knew who they were, and everything was done in a 2-hour span. Um, this one I felt like you kind of had to feel like you knew everyone in the camp and their backstory. to really be invested in the overall story. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
And I think I also really wanted to play as John Marsden.
yeah, that was hard
was
for
the
a
other
lot of
thing.
people, including me, because I knew it was a prologue or not a prologue, a prequel, if you will.
Mhm.
And it's a little hard for them to call it Red Dead Redemption 2 because generally that's reserved for sequels.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into it thinking, okay, am I going to play as this character the whole game? And let's just say spoilers now again as a thing. You don't play as Arthur Morgan the whole game. The epilogue is where you finally get that kind of bridge.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing about Arthur Morgan specifically. I like him as a character more than John Marston.
Oh, I mean, after playing it, yes.
Like, there's just more depth. And let's be realistic. Back when Red Dead Redemption came out, that whole story, I would say, is average at best. It basically has the premise that, hey, this is an outlaw. He's going to go track down his gang. That concept is cool, but story wise, it's just okay. It doesn't. I'm not shitting on it. I'm not saying it's the worst game story in the world. But compared to Red Dead Redemption 2, which is in chapters, so you have chapters 1 through 6, and then you have an epilogue. It felt like, structurally speaking, they really threw the kitchen sink at it. They're like, okay, we're gonna just make this the richest story that we can, and there's a lot that happens in it, and by the end of it, you're in a pretty rough spot because you know what comes next.
Yeah.
Like, you know, everything that John Marston, for instance, has gotten up to that point, what John Marston has been fighting for, and what will eventually come to pass in a couple years. Like, it's just I don't know. It's
Now,
one of those games that just have like a it sits with you for a while afterwards.
Yep.
I don't
I
want to
still think of
say
it.
that Arthur Morgan is a better character than John Marston because yeah, it was a lot more fleshed out in this because
That's what I was just about. Yep. Exactly what I was about to
like
say.
the first one, it was very like on the nose as to what they were trying to go for, and most of the redemption part in the first is told in the backstory and through the interactions with Marston and then any of his old gang members. And it's everything's told like, oh well, back in the day, I used to be this thing, and I'm not trying to be that anymore, but I was dragged back into this life, right?
Right.
And then gameplay kind of takes a whole different way because you can just murder everything if you wanted to. Very much the same way with Redemption 2 and Arthur. But the difference is that I think the redemption part in here is that you can start whether you're a very lawful or very honorable outlaw or just a rough and dirty bastard, right? But then the story beats will force you into a narrative that this is why he's actually thinking about what he's doing and does he want to keep going on this path.
Yep.
And
Towards
so, huh?
towards the end, I wanted to be good. I didn't want to rob campsites.
Yes, like the stuff that happens to him and all that he's going through, yeah, you feel like, well, this is playing into more of a redemption arc for this person.
Mm-hmm.
While and because Marston is in this, you get to see the life that he led up to the start of the first game. And you do see like what he was involved with, and that kind of actually, as most prequels will do, is reinforce the story of the first one that they actually didn't tell.
Yeah.
So that's why I wouldn't say that he's just a better character or this is just a much better. Well, I would say that this one is a better story because it was more fleshed out. They had a lot more opportunity to flesh it out. It was a much bigger game, but it's just that's what they could do with this one that they couldn't do with the other one. Same thing with Grand Theft Auto. Grand Theft Auto 5 has a much better story than GTA 3 with Claude, who doesn't talk and just goes through everything, just does whatever the fuck.
You mean
It's just
Fido?
who?
Odd.
The name of the character that you play as in GTA 3, his name is Claude.
Wow, that you blow my fucking mind. I always called him Fido. That's what the girl called him at the very beginning of the game because you were doing favors.
Oh, dude. Yeah, his name's Claude. Wow.
Oh. Well,
Good to
now
know.
you learned something.
I did. I've always called him Fido.
But yeah,
Fascinating.
the story between that and then even any of the other GTAs up till then, the only one I'd say is like on par or maybe even better is GTA 4. But that was when they started real like the HD era of Rockstar games is when they started like really focusing heavy into the narrative portion of their games. And since uh Redemption 1 was at the end of that of at the end of the previous era, then it wasn't as narratively driven. So you gotta take it for what it is at the time.
Right. Yeah, I mean
So,
that's any game. You know, you got to take into consideration like
Like what they could do
yeah.
versus what like is implied or what they could do later. Like that's why they make the remakes, and you got Final Fantasy 7 and Final Fantasy 7 remake with a lot more fucking story, so many other
Mhm.
characters that were just backstories, and now you're seeing them and what they're all about, and it's just a lot more fleshed out to the like good or the bad of what that could be.
Right.
Like I didn't want to learn anything about fucking Boba Fett. He was just a cool character, but now we got all this bullshit about him.
Yeah, and I'm usually like with movies and stuff like that. I don't I don't necessarily care about the like needing to know the origin story of every single character out there, but and not to say that you know everything about Arthur's past, you know little bits and pieces, but uh and they do a great job of keeping that mystery there. But it was nice, like filling in those gaps from Red Dead One with Marsden's. This is his own backstory. And the
Hmm.
little things that they fill in, and you're like, oh well, that's Dutch who you end up killing in Red Dead One. You know, and that's it's whenever you are log and you have to go find John Marsden, uh, and like you find his dead horse. Like if you look closely, like uh, that's the monogrammed saddle that he talks about in Red Dead One. Like that's how he lost it. So it's stuff like that I do think is I'm glad they were able to flesh that out, like you said.
Like when they come out with Red Dead 3, if ever they decide to do that in 20 years, then you're gonna play as Dutch and have his upbringing. It's either keep
Or
rolling it back or you're like on the far side of the country in a different Western setting.
I was gonna say that, or you follow the hat. Go back even farther because Arthur's hat was his dad's hat.
Mm.
If you are at your campsite and you focus in on the pictures that you have hung up, and they show Arthur, it's I can't remember his first name, but it's something Morgan. He's wearing Arthur's hat.
Oh, that makes sense.
Mm.
Yeah. That's why it's super beat up and stuff like that. And then that's why the scene again we're just heavy on the spoilers. The scene at the end on the mountain or the hill or cliff or whatever, and he gives John the hat. That's why it's even more emotional because it's like that was his father's hat, and he's Arthur is giving John the life that like his father couldn't give to him.
Yeah, I
Mm.
mean, I don't necessarily like it, let's put it realistically. Red Dead Redemption 3, if that were to ever happen, I'm just being honest because I don't think it will at this stage.
No, I'm like fully up there with you.
Yeah, I think it'll be something completely different. Yeah,
Rockstar is a very different company than when this game first entered production.
it definitely made them money.
No,
Oh,
it made the money.
Okay,
It's the problem is it's like they're not that into just making sequels of their games as much as they did, especially GTA 5 Online. That does nothing but print money.
I think GTA though we've got to treat that like a Call of Duty because people are still clamoring for the Bully sequel, for the LA Noir sequel.
Nobody's clamoring
well,
for an LA Noir sequel.
oh
I
hell
am.
yeah,
I
hell yeah,
love LA
dude,
Noir.
No.
You didn't
amazing
like LA
game.
Noir?
It's not that I didn't like LA Noir, it doesn't need a sequel.
I
I've
would like another game like in that setting.
we were talking. I was just talking about this with my coworkers today because he was on the same thing. He's like, "Oh, no, it's so great." I'm like, could you imagine like just a more updated version of that with like the technology we have now? Because back then, that face technology with like the expressions and everything was kind of revolutionary for the time.
Oh, do it on. I mean, well, okay. Let me just say
Uh,
this: you kind of have it. I don't. I'm sure there's a name for the those horror games that came out that
Horror
like are real
games.
decision making. What are those games called?
oh,
I
like
don't know.
the Man of Medan or the
Yeah, that
Until Dawn.
series. Yeah, Until Dawn. That's it. That's it. Like that level of graphical, facial recognition, but with LA Noir. And I also what I will say, LA Noir on the Switch is really fun.
Yeah, I mean, I went back and played it recently. Um, I played it when it first launched originally,
Same.
and it was I don't know, the story behind that game is a little sad because of like that was the first time that I had really heard of the crunch essentially. Like it had always
Mhm.
been kind of alluded to, but that was like one of the first times where you really heard about crunch games. And then Red Dead Redemption 2 obviously also famous for it. The amount of detail that is in this game is mind-boggling to me. Like there's still stuff today where I'll boot up the game every once in a while, and right now it's mostly just I use it as just kind of like a walking simulator, pretty
Yeah.
much. Like I don't really play the story anymore because I've already done all of that.
Hmm.
It's just I'm walking around, I'll just ride my horse and trying to find something new. And usually I do. And there's a really good scene where there's people building a railroad. And there's people actually hitting the railroad spikes. And like normally in like just a regular game, that's where your immersion breaks because you're looking at the railroad spikes and it's just a pre-cut animation of them of the thing just going in as they hit it. But it's not, it doesn't feel like it's hand animated. It feels like, and this is going to sound stupid, it feels like they built a system just for fucking putting railroad spikes into the ground and having like the person puts it in the ground, hits it with the hammer, and it's just like it would be in real life.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I read somewhere that like Red Dead Redemption 2 has the most motion capture of any video game ever made.
That completely makes sense. Like Rockstar goes into some great detail with like these latest games. GTA 5, they put an entire mechanic of if you're wearing flip-flops, the flip-flops actually flip and flop.
Yeah, I
Um
mean,
they
it's
did
but that
they have to like animate and have an entire system for the horse ball shrinkage?
yeah,
No,
Oh yeah.
not at all.
but I mean
But
that's
they
where the
I,
crunch occurred because I think I think what happens as basically they have to raise the bar every single time that they do one of these. It feels like
Mhm.
because in essence they're like, listen, if we don't, then it's almost like an obsession. They're like, okay, we have to do this, we have to beat our own bar that we've set. And I mean, you've seen like the GTA 6 like videos, I'm assuming, where it
yeah.
had like the leaked footage. And a lot of people were already like, oh my God, this just looks so terrible. It's just so bad. Like it doesn't look that much. I mean, even I'm trying to think of a more recent example. There's there's some games that look like they're kind of cookie cutter now.
Oh, Halo Infinite.
Yeah, Halo Infinite's probably a good example.
Okay.
They spent a ton of time, I'm sure, building foundational systems. And this isn't to knock the Halo team at all. The first trailer for Halo Infinite, the
Craig.
actual first gameplay trailer, Craig,
Got shit on pretty hard.
horrible. And I feel like Rockstar basically waited until this game was nearly finished. And we're like, you know what? It's in a good enough state. Let's do a trailer for it. We'll release it a year from now. And that's basically they spent the entire rest of that year just polishing it. Because if you watch the trailer versus actual like gameplay footage, it is different. It is different than what's in the game. Um and it's just the small it's just basically like they had so much money from Grand Theft Auto 5 that they could invest all that time and effort and systems into building something. It's almost like if you gave what's that guy that did Detroit?
David Cage.
Dave
If you
Cage.
gave that dude unlimited budget, he would probably not release his game for like 15 years
Well,
because
that's
he'd be constantly tweaking it,
so
constantly updating it.
Star Citizen.
Star Citizen is a great example of a dude who's just got way too much money now and is just like, you know what? I want to make it the best thing possible. There's actually there's a game called, I think it's Game Dev Tycoon, maybe, where if you've never played it, it's even has like a mobile version. You basically start in your garage and you can build your own games and you write your own engine and you do all of that. And we get to the point where every game that I would release, I would build a brand new engine because it would, for my benefit, I would add just one more feature. And building an engine is expensive in that game. Like it costs a lot of money, takes a lot of time, and it's not always for the best. I just feel like they got to a certain point with this one where they're like, we just have to make it as best as possible, and they of course pulled the let's basically remaster it and release it on PC just like they did for GTA 5. But I don't I know they did an Xbox One version, right?
Are we talking about for
So
Red Dead?
yeah, so they
Yeah.
okay, let me go back to GTA 5. So originally GTA 5 came on to Xbox 360, PlayStation 3. PlayStation 4, Xbox One came out. I don't know the exact timing, but they released a version just for that. And I want to say PC was shortly thereafter. And then it just seems like they keep doing it over and over again because GTA Online was so popular and
It gets the
still
Skyrim
Yeah,
treatment.
it was just not
right.
enough. It prints money.
But look at this now. That this one, yes, it was successful. Yes, it probably made its money back. Red Dead Online is effectively dead at this stage.
Pretty much.
Like it's just there's just nothing there because they're like, you know what, this isn't as successful as GTA 5, which is a high
That's
bar to
why
even.
we revive it.
I mean, right? Like it's one of those. It's one of those weird things, and there's some news that came out that was never really confirmed because Rockstar doesn't confirm rumors typically.
Mm-hmm.
That because if you look at the map for Red Dead Redemption 2, what is there?
Oh, I can tell you, I have it hanging up.
All
right. So you got New Hanover, West Elizabeth, Amberino, and Lemoyne. And then you also got
effectively
New
had
Austin.
you exactly New Austin. So you effectively have a fairly significant chunk of Red Dead Redemption map already built. Now, is it exactly the same? Obviously not. There's time-wise, there's differences, there's all sorts of things there. But foundationally speaking, you could take that and say, okay, now we're going to redo Red Dead Redemption in with this new quote unquote engine, because it's still the Rage engine at the end of the day. And we're gonna do not a remaster, but a what's the final, is it the remake? Final Fantasy 7 remake?
Yeah.
They're gonna basically do a remake of Red Dead Redemption. They're gonna package it all up into one, thing. You get it for I don't know how much money that would cost, but we'll say $75 to be generous. Release it and say, here is the definitive Red Dead Redemption collection. You're welcome. Oh, by the way, it's coming to PC. A couple of years back, they basically effectively killed that project. It's probably never going to happen. And to say I'm gutted is just an understatement because I think we all know, like, playing Red Dead Redemption on PC with the graphics level of Red Dead Redemption 2 would be like, it would be like the perfect two games.
Yeah, but I see the thing is, I never even wanted them to do like a complete remake. A remaster would have been fine. All they need to do was update the graphics a little bit and tweak controls so it works with PC. That's it. They
They
didn't need
did
to.
do they did do, and I'm not calling it a remaster, but they enhanced it for Xbox One. So I don't know exactly what I think they basically upscaled it for 4K
Yeah,
is what I
I mean,
remember.
yeah, upscale for 4K. They added a few new textures, and then they added the new features that work with like the one where it uses the different like kind of UI and
Yeah.
added like online like features for it. But that's what I wanted them to do for the PC. I just wanted there to be a way to do it on or to play it on the PC without having to go through like a console emulator.
Well, and to be fair, I think if let's just say Red Dead Online had been successful, because Red Dead Redemption 2 again was successful. It made its money back. It just
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
as profitable. So putting the investment and time into porting it to PC, which we've seen Rockstar try to pawn off on other studios,
and that
to
was
not
disastrous.
great success. And I think they're looking at that and going, you know what, maybe we shouldn't do that definitive, let's call it Red Dead Redemption version.
But the thing with those ports, especially if we're talking about the HD GTAs into the new ones, that was way after they canceled like moving Red Dead into onto PC. It was just that they didn't want to because they were still trying to ride high off of not doing anything other than thinking about the online capabilities of GTA 5 and what Red Dead 2 can do.
Well, I think also realistically, they were like, you know what? We're probably not going to get anything else out of this game. It did what it was supposed to do. Let's now devote all of our resources to the next GTA. Because the lead time on these games now is so high. And they're probably saying, okay, what are we going to do for the next one? How are we going to print, GTA Online 2.0, essentially? I
Hmm.
think that's what the overall problem is. Like, it's like, to be fair, when Red Dead Redemption 2 was announced, I was shocked. I was like, wow, I can't believe it finally actually happened.
Same here.
Um, the fact that it was a prequel, even crazier to me. I was like, wow, that is what a gamble. Because originally, like, I wouldn't say Red Dead Redemption was one of my favorite games of all time. Um, I
But
liked
I have
it.
some real good memories from it.
Yeah, like I do too. Shit, even my wife has good memories playing it for a little bit. She there's the cheat where you could uh it almost like it looked like gold when your horse was running.
Hmm.
I don't know the exact cheat, but she called the horse Fasty McCoin Hooves. And that was her horse, and then she accidentally drove the horse over into a canyon and one day,
Yeah.
and Fasty McCoin Hooves was no more.
That's funny.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, like even back then, I think I got her a copy of Red Dead Redemption so that we could play online with each other. Because even
Hmm.
that had real basic.
It was real basic, but for what it was, it was real fun. Now, since that game came out in 2009,
Yeah,
no, 2009, 2010,
yeah.
but and uh, I was working with Jim at the time,
Yep.
and all of our buddies. I don't think Jim was like a good buddy at the time though. No, he hated me just for
Oh,
some
we
reason.
No,
didn't,
I
we
never
didn't, we didn't
did.
get there yet.
Hmm?
No, Nick didn't like us.
No, no, I liked
Oh,
everybody else, and I wanted to like you too, but you kept scowling at me every time I saw you.
Not
So,
true at all.
like I got Red Dead, and I forget at the time, like I was real big into westerns. Like my pop just got me real into westerns around that time period, and so when this came out, I was like, oh hell yeah, I'm gonna be a fucking cowboy. Yeah. And then I could like talk to a bunch of my other friends, like Andrew. He was one of them that we were in our little posse, and we all got Red Dead. We were playing online, and it was great. And we were bullying kids on back of horseback. And oh wait, no, Jim was there too.
I was there.
Yeah, because I kept knifing his horse in the face.
Well,
Yeah.
everybody, that was what online became. It was just we
Oh
would
yeah, it
all
was
go do
griefing. It
something,
was hardcore griefing,
and
and
then
I was just chuckling my little ass off. I was so happy.
I mean,
But
that's what GTA Online became for a lot of us for a long time. It's how many fucking sticky bombs. I mean, David to this day will tell you how fucking pissed off he got at me because every single time he'd come around the corner in his nice car that he had just bought, throw a sticky grenade, blow it up, and he'd be like, "You son of a bitch."
see, now the thing is, I will not advocate towards griefing random people online. I always only grief my friends because that's how I show my love.
you
And
grief the
Yeah,
also,
ones you love.
I
that's your love
only
language.
grief the people that I know in real life because if I can make them mad enough and they get angry enough, they can come and give me a smack. That's the only fair way to grief. But there were some times we get in a posse with some random people and we would like just start ragging on them for like the smallest things. Like, oh my god, you gotta go to bed early. What? Your mom didn't give you a Dr. Pepper before bed? Something like that.
I just want to let you know right now that the Red Dead Redemption merch train back in the day was hard to get stuff. Uh, Basically, they didn't have much. Store at the time was constantly sold out. The other day, I decided, you know what? Let me check that out again. I haven't looked at it in some time. And now I'm actually currently buying a mouse pad because they have a wildlife a desk pad. It has like some vintage art on it. Looks pretty cool. I personally bought the Outlaws desk pad. Is going to replace my mouse pad at work.
Nice.
You can also, Jim, probably a big thing for you. You can get the vinyl soundtrack.
I'd like that.
It is red. It's very cool.
Like that.
But is it dead?
It is. It also has performances from Willie Nelson.
Yeah, I mean he's one of the actual like songs, on the soundtrack, when you're playing the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. There's a $20
Like,
mouse pad. I
who
think I
the
paid.
fuck would buy a Red Dead Redemption 2 dynamite candle for $75?
Yeah.
Something that you literally set on fire and then you'll never see again.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like I said, some of this shit is stupid. Now, I'm not gonna lie. The 3D train puzzle, pretty fucking cool. The metal the Gatling gun, also pretty fucking cool.
Hmm.
I do love how they have a vinyl of it's called the House Building EP, and it's one of the songs is when they're building the fucking
Oh, I
goddamn
love it.
song at the end.
Yeah. That's one of the best.
Yeah, dude. The 4
Oh,
additional songs previously unreleased.
oh wait, I'm sorry. I was like harking on that candle, but I just found the barrel candle for $95 that
Yeah.
also has the exact same problem.
Yeah, well, and this is a testament to how old this game is because there is a Red Dead Redemption 2 leather iPhone case.
iPhone. It's got to be like iPhone 6.
It is iPhone 6, 7, and 8, or the iPhone 10.
Okay.
That's it. They're like, ah, that's all we're gonna
Yeah,
need
we're just
now.
only getting up to that.
We're only ever getting up to that. Now, it looks like a nice leather case. But yeah. Oh, they do have, of course, the Red Dead Redemption 2 iPad case. For the 9.7, the iPad Air 2.
I was gonna say it's got to be second gen.
I think I have the iPad Air 2, or I did. I gave it to my mother-in-law. Yeah.
So Geoff,
Yeah.
do you have a favorite moment from the game? Whether it's one you created yourself or one that is part of the storyline?
Um,
And Nick, I'm
gosh,
going to ask you the same question.
I'm
I'm gonna be
already going to
honest with
tell
you,
you.
and this is kind
Oh,
of a vague answer, and I apologize. I liked all of the stranger missions
Yeah.
because it was one of those things where actually if you're gonna press me on one, it's when I dragged the eugenics guy into the lake. Just literally lassoed the dude, put him on my horse, he's screaming, walk over to the lake, pick him up, just throw him onto there's like a ramp that goes into the lake. I just put him at the very top of the ramp, but he just rolls down into the lake, and I was like, "Goodbye."
Yeah, I choked that guy out.
Well, I punched him first. I was
Yeah.
like, "You're gonna suffer a little bit before I kill you," and of course, the cops were just like freaking out.
Oh, I that might have been like the most wanted I ever got was because of that guy.
Well, I
I'm
mean,
not kidding. Like I killed this guy because you're talking about the guy in Saint Denis who's selling
yeah,
that
yeah,
bullshit.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I remember
His
did
white
you
pride
buy
thing.
the book? Did you buy the book?
No, did you buy the book?
Okay, I yes.
Okay.
So I
Wait,
bought
you
the
gave this
book
dude
and
money.
I it was $50.
Yeah, that's
so
expensive in Red Dead
$50
Redemption.
in Red Dead
$50 in
time
Red
money.
Dead Redemption money. It's expensive. But at that point
Yeah.
I had also well, here's the thing too. Before getting to Saint Denis, I had done a little bit of exploring. And I
Okay.
found the 5 gold bars at the top of the mountain.
Okay.
And I had found a bunch of other gold bars throughout. So I was flush with cash.
Flush with
With cash.
cash.
And so I was like trying to unlock and buy all the like clothes and you know just have a real be a real just like man about Saint Denis. And so the way that it works out is I bought it, I read it like in front of him, and then like you know you can't really interact with them or anything like that, and then a couple days later you can go back up to him and be like look, this is bullshit. There's nothing in here, and he tries to like get you to buy a second book, um, and yeah, and I ended up just like hitting him. Here was another thing. I accidentally pulled my gun on so many people in this game. Uh,
Oh, dude,
that
that is
caused
one.
mass hysteria.
That
Yeah.
is the one complaint I would say with the game is the fucking
it,
control
it took me a
scheme.
while to get used to the
I'm
controls.
still
Yeah,
not used to it, and I've killed countless. No, I'm gonna be honest with you. It doesn't help that when you have cheats enabled and you have instant kill
I
on,
haven't. I need. I
including
should guess I should do that just to see.
NPCs.
Why do you have insta kill on?
Because at that point, I'm not really there for the. I'm not really there for the challenge at that
So
stage.
you're just like story mode, or
Yeah,
you
yeah,
just
yeah,
want to
yeah.
fuck around?
Yeah, I'm just usually
Okay.
fucking around with cheats because like in the second playthrough, it's all cheats. I don't. I have like 2 million in golds that I donated to the camp, and I walked up to Dutch one day and I said, "Is this enough fucking gold?
Oh, I never.
Is this enough money for you?" And he's still like, "I need more money, Arthur."
No.
I
So
got a plan.
I
You just
got a
there's a
gotta have
plan.
video.
faith.
There's a video it's on YouTube, and it's what happens what does Dutch do when Arthur donates $10 million.
The
Um,
answer is nothing.
Nothing. You know, and the answer is nothing. He's just like look at Arthur contributing. Like I think it's because there's no line for oh my god you fucking just donated $10 million. Why are we not in Tahiti right fucking now?
Yeah, it's just like because obviously, like, the developers at the time were like, "There's no fucking." But you know what? It would have been hilarious if they had thrown in a goddamn Easter egg where Dutch goes, "We're going to Tahiti," and it's
then
just a quick
credits
cutscene.
roll.
Exactly, it's just a quick cutscene, and it's just like them all happy as shit. Everything worked out. Arthur survives. Everything's great, and then it cuts and be like, "You fucking idiot! You're a goddamn cheater." Now you're gonna watch all these people suffer. They all get tuberculosis. Every single one of them.
Oh my god. So this is not my moment, but I do want to say this. So a couple weeks ago, I messaged just Geoff and I said, "Does my goddamn character have tuberculosis? Is that what's gonna kill me?"
Yeah.
I just started noticing like he's coughing a lot. And I started going on a deep dive. Then you're in Saint Denis and you pass out on the street and you get diagnosed with it. And I went on a tear. Like, is there a way you don't get tuberculosis?
Like, how did this happen?
Well,
You got
Was
it,
skin in
and
those
you
dirty
got it because of
cougars?
Strauss, which is
yeah.
bullshit because that guy sucks.
Well, and the funniest thing also is that people they did a playthrough where they stood as far away from the dude that gives you TB. They're like, "Ain't getting TB today, you fucker."
Wait a minute. Well,
And
let me ask you this, and I guess can you just because aren't all those like uh collecting missions optional? Like, what if you just don't do it?
No, some the very beginning one
They're part of
are
the story. Oh,
mandatory
okay.
because like if
yeah,
you play through all the missions in the camp, then he's the only one that's left to, and you have to do that one to further the story.
yeah,
Gotcha. Gotcha. Yeah,
yeah,
because
and
did you run into the wife
Yeah,
and
I
son
got TB as
in
well.
Ansburg? Okay.
Wait, what?
You quote unquote redeem yourself.
Oh yeah, yeah. I played
Yeah.
through every side quest
Yeah,
before the end
same.
of the
I
game.
have 100% on the side quest as well.
There's only one that I didn't do that I should go back and redo at some point, and that was to help build that town or that little settlement.
the settlement.
Wait a minute. What are
Uh-oh.
you talking about?
All right, so I think it's right outside of, oh, what's the name of that?
Is
Amarillo?
it Armadillo?
No, 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 no. Armadillo's
The town that has
in one.
cholera?
Uh, it was one of the first towns that you're in. I'm looking at the map trying to see where it is. But there's a rail.
Is this a John or Arthur
No, it's not.
mission?
It's not a Marston. It's when you're playing as Arthur, and it's a step thing. Like Jim, you probably don't know it because you didn't play Breath of the Wild. Jeff, did you play Breath of the Wild?
I
I
played Breath of the
mean,
Wild.
Yeah.
yeah, not
Oh,
very
okay, but you
much.
weren't as invested. So did you help build Terrytown?
No.
No, I didn't.
Okay. Well, it's kind of like that, where it's multiple parts. So you go in, and one of the missions is you got to help these guys get wood because they're trying to move lumber and stuff, but then there's like the guys at the lumber mill, they're not acting right with us, so you got to go help them and to get that.
Oh,
So
I
you're
get
supposed to
that.
leave, and then once you come back, they got stuff built up a little bit more, and you're supposed to help them with another mission, and then they get their little settlement like built up. Never, I never went back after getting the wood initially.
Yeah,
I forgot
I
about
think you can go as John
it. Oh,
and finish it.
oh. Well, maybe I'll do that. I'll just load up
The one that I need to go back and finish as John is the quote unquote time traveler.
Yeah.
Hmm.
You know what I'm talking about with the rock carvings?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the one that I need to go back and finish because
I
I've only
did
found like
finish that
5
one.
of them. You did?
Mm-hmm. Now,
I do know what happens, but so that kind of leads into one of the things that I like the most about this game is there are a lot of horror elements
Oh yeah.
in the game.
so you never
So,
asked me what my favorite.
oh, I was gonna go with you last.
Oh, we were still on Geoff?
I mean, I don't know if we're still on me necessarily. I just the
Oh, okay. Okay. So Jim, you go ahead. Sorry,
I was gonna
I
say the horror stuff. So like the serial killer stuff.
yeah.
So
okay.
the 4 parts of the map, or the 3 or 4 parts of the map that you discover throughout the world, where you find the like part of the map shoved in the severed head.
Yep.
Brutal, fucking brutal. And then you actually go down into his little cellar thing, and it's fucking brutal. Then there's like that part of like the swampland with like the people who just kill you, and they don't talk; they just make clicking sounds.
Mm-hmm.
And you're lured into their world with like a screaming woman.
I
Yep.
was
That
gonna
was
say
horrifying.
that was one of my favorite parts that I remember because I was not expecting it at all.
Same? Did you die?
No,
Oh, I got killed. Yeah.
no, I didn't die. I got out of it because it was at a time where I learned that cooking it's not ginger steak, it's a thyme steak
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
would like just get you damn near unlimited dead eye.
Stamina. Oh, Deadeye.
And
Yeah, yeah,
so yeah, that wasn't an issue, but it was very startling.
yeah. There's a
Did
guy that I was watching who played the entire game without Deadeye.
Oh fuck that.
um,
Why? Like why?
I don't know.
That's
did
just
Um,
you do the Saint Denis vampire?
oh yes, 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 yes. Yeah, where all the stuff is written on the walls and stuff like that, and it kind of directs you where to go. That was awesome because it was like a Nosferatu type vampire, which is my favorite. Yeah, love it, love it, love it. Very cool. The ghost train, the what? So the suicide cult, which if you go there, in the house with all the dead victims, but if you go there, like I think it's like 2 in the morning, you see a UFO. Um,
The husband and wife
the
that are extremely related?
Did you ever go back to that house and break into the secret room with all the money?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, so there's a side room that the door is locked. But when you go outside, you can throw like some kind, so you can break the window somehow just shooting it and stuff like that. And you climb in through the window, and there's actually a shit ton of money um in that room. But you only can get it from outside. And
Oh, neat.
only after you've either killed them or done something. Now, there's with that couple, because they drug you, um, if you kill the husband or the brother, or however you want to call them, and take the wife slash sister, and like you hog tie her and take her not that far from the house, there's like a pit, and it's where they have all the dead bodies of her parents. He has a freak out, and I just left her there.
so Nick, not to go away from. Well, actually, go through your favorite moment, and then
Oh,
I
I did.
will. Oh, you did. Okay,
Oh,
I'm
that
Yeah.
sorry.
was it. That was your favorite.
No, it was the
The wailing woman.
zombie people.
Yeah,
Okay,
so cool.
so I'm gonna go through this list. I want to see if you all have actually done all of.
Well, it's gonna be
Um.
hard for me because like I played it through 5 years ago.
And that's
And so,
fine. This stuff you will probably remember though.
okay.
So, fans of South Park, did you know that the man bear pig is in the game?
Yep.
Man Bear Pig.
I
Maybe.
can tell you exactly where he is too.
Well, he would be somewhere up in the north because they also threw Sasquatch in there.
Yeah.
Yep.
So a little bit south to that, do you remember by Ainsburg, there's that kind of abandoned yellow house? You meet Micah there once.
Yeah.
Okay,
It's
yeah, I
in
do
that
remember
house. It's in the second story. Again, you can't get it from the inside. You have to climb.
Oh wait, you're talking about the vigil.
Yes.
Oh yeah. No, okay, I remember seeing that.
So you've already mentioned the UFO one. Did you all meet? Did you go into the Devil's Cave and meet Lucifer?
Yes.
No, I don't think I did that.
Quote unquote Lucifer.
Did you all find the Mountain Monk?
Is that the mountain? Oh, yes, I did.
Damn, Jim.
Don't
We're
think so.
getting. What about the Witch Cauldron?
Yes.
Yes, and I drank that shit too.
Well, you have to drink that shit if given you the option.
I mean, you may as well. Did you all see the ghost train of Lemoyne County?
I didn't see it in the game, but I have seen it on videos.
That's the one. Like, you can actually stand in front of it, and then like it just goes through you, right?
It just goes right through you, yeah.
Okay, so I think I did that, or I can't remember if it was in the video or not. Did y'all find the feral Wolfman? The guy
Yes,
raised
with
by
his
wolves?
fucking, with his dick hanging out. Okay, killed him, and I feel bad about it.
Did you hog tie him up and then like throw him in the river and be like, "Take a
No.
bath, damn it"?
I chased him back to like his little cave. He sicked the like 3 wolves on me. I dead-eyed them. Then he
And then
was
he
super
cried over his
sad.
brothers.
And he did, dude. He starts crying in like a fetal position. Then and this is before obviously I got good. I got like on the good side of the morale meter. Not morale meter, but just
The honor meter.
the honor meter. And I looted him. Then cut him free, and then when he started coming after me, I shot him in the head.
Yeah, I
That's
mean,
too bad.
there's a bunch of there's stuff. There's
Find the
actually
Hobbit house.
yes, the Hobbit house is pretty easy to find.
Mm-hmm.
There is a I want to say it's Strange Man Red Dead Redemption channel. Yeah, that's the name of the actual channel. So I'm sure you've run into this before because he was in Red Dead Redemption as well. The Strange Man is in both 1 and 2. And he's just as he sounds, right? He's a very mysterious person.
The
I thought he
blind
wasn't
person?
into.
He's
only
of
in a
is.
picture.
Yeah, he kind of is, I guess is the best way to say it. But Strange Man, the channel, if you ever get a chance to look at it, this dude is religious about solving mysteries of Red Dead Redemption 2. And
I like that.
really, really cool. Like Gertrude Braithwaite and her numbers, what that's about, who Gavin is.
Gavin!
Gavin! Has
Where
anyone
are
seen
you?
Gavin?
Like some of this stuff is not like
Does that ever get solved?
confirmed. No. That's the thing.
Okay.
Some of this is not confirmed. A lot of this is like conjecture. But like the sad part about Gavin specifically, he is, because he does a lot of things where he'll go through the game files and like he'll rip through like missing voice lines and things like that that didn't make it into the game but kind of allude to what's happening. He's one of those that like no clips through different environments to solve different things. It's alluded to that the dude has like a split personality and he doesn't know really that he is Gavin.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking was like what it was like. He is who he's looking for.
Right.
So I didn't come up with. I thought that like maybe Gavin was like a friend or his brother or somebody that was killed, and like he just couldn't deal with the trauma and like just was like, he's not dead, he's not here, we can't find him.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know specifically because I mean, obviously, it's never been like fully confirmed, but he does a very good job. I mean, this dude is still uploading stuff to this day.
I'm looking at his channel right now, and yep,
What's the channel called?
It's
A
just called
Strange
Strange
Man.
Man. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's just kind of cool. Like, it's got different things that are like, here's things you didn't know. The vampire Saint Denis, for instance, is in there. Allegedly, from another article that I read, that apparently you could pick him up, hog tie him, and take him to a church, and something happens. So there's just like different nuances that he goes through. Like there's the town that you run into that has like plague written everywhere.
Yeah, The Walking Dead town.
It goes into a little bit more detail about that. Then there's also the ghost lady at Saint Denis. Like he's able to find voice lines where she actually talks and things like that. So it's a really cool channel. Highly encourage you to check it out.
I have a feeling I'm gonna be watching a lot of these like tonight.
I spent quite a long time because like there's the ghost of there's a ghost in like the swamps
Yes,
as
I did
well.
know that.
And it goes into detail about that specifically, like who she was and where she came from.
That's something
Also,
to check
it's
out.
just trivia as well. Like the original voice actor for Bill passed away while they were doing Red Dead Redemption 2. The singing voice that you hear is the original voice actor in the game.
Oh, that's nice.
So they kept his singing in there, and they got another person in to actually do the voice acting. So yeah, there's stuff in there that you'll be like, wow, I've got to go in the game to actually like check this out. Things like that. Tons and tons and tons of stuff.
Another good one that did you run into, and this is in Valentine, the prostitute who keeps killing her victims?
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
How many victims till you go,
Yeah, so because I looked up into that in the first time, there's certain times where like I would encounter that and I would literally pause the game and I would look it up. I'd be like, all right, how is this gonna go?
Oh man, yeah. I did I know I usually do that, but in this game I didn't want to do that.
It's the second go around because there wasn't any like story that was gonna be spoiled
That
for
makes
me.
sense. Okay, fair enough.
It was just one of those things where I was like, this isn't gonna impact the actual story in any way. But how many times did you go before you were like, I'm gonna
So
probably
her, she was on the corner like, please help, help, help.
Yeah,
And I
yeah,
went
yeah.
up to the room with her, and he was dead as fuck. And so I carried him to the pig farm. down the
Yeah.
way.
Mhm.
And so then I don't know how many game days passed, whatever. I'm back in Valentine. It's night, and she's there again. And I start to react negatively instead of positively. And so she killed the second person, and I was like, yeah, no, this isn't it. So I told her I was not going to help her, and then she immediately tries to stab you.
Yeah, it
Um,
was when I got like stabbed by her that I was like, oh, okay, well,
oh,
and
this is
wait,
it.
how
So,
did you take her out?
so I kept her alive. I just like bull rushed her, hog-tied her, and then carried her to the sheriff. And there's a whole scene that unlocks when you carry her to the sheriff.
You took her to the sheriff.
I did.
Oh, I
They
put her
have
on the
her throw
train
you in
tracks.
jail, and she stays there for a while too. Like if you go back and like do bounty hunter missions, she'll like yell at you um when you walk in. So yeah.
Funny. Yeah, it still staggers me to this day the amount of detail to where you'll do something and it's like the game, like in my job now, I have to think about like customer journeys and things like that. And I'm just looking at like the decision tree that they would have to build
Oof.
for
Yeah.
everything that the player does.
Yeah.
Because they're
Well,
looking at this and go like, well, we could do it this way, but also it'd be kind of interesting if they decide to, stab them in the leg, for instance, and see what happens there. Like,
yeah.
I have a feeling there's just so many things in the game that people are still to this day discovering because of that decision
Oh,
tree.
there is. Absolutely there is. Um so I have a feeling we all probably had, the first time we played it, we all had kind of the same journeys, but question for everybody. Did you go back for the money or elect to save John? John.
I elected to help John.
Yeah, it was John.
Yeah, yeah, same.
I
When
mean,
you got to the end game, did you have high honor or low honor?
High honor.
yeah,
High
very
honor.
high.
Okay,
I've
okay.
been meaning to. I wanted to play and just be just a horrible person. I just never got like at the time be, because it was such a tonal shift from the original Red Dead. I played through it, and like I said, I did every story mission, so I played through like as much as I could, and then I was like, all right, I'm done with it for now.
I
Yeah,
still
that's
there's some,
why
yeah, there's still some stuff I want to do, but I'm yeah.
that's why I reboot it up every once in a while, and it's literally hour at most, and I'll just run around exploring, doing shit, and then I'll be all right. This is a nice trip to go back. It's time to.
I assume y'all know what happens if you have low honor, right?
Hmm.
There's a
Okay.
couple things that happen.
Well, I'm talking about the one
Like the
big
end.
one where Micah shoots you in the fucking face.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Imagine uh you play through that whole game and that's the end.
Not
I mean,
great.
if you played through it like being a complete asshole to
Yeah.
everybody, then that's a fitting end.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. But imagine just knowing what I know now, like I would have been so unhappy and so bummed out if you didn't get if you got the wolf ending versus the buck ending.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
So
I
I mean,
mean,
imagine if you were playing through High Honor and then that's how it ended.
oh god. Yeah.
But that's what the first one was.
Yeah. Well, but it's got the same ending no matter what though, the first one, right?
Yeah, the first one had the same ending no matter what, but no matter like if you played through it Like you're as good of a person as you can be, or you're doing the worst possible thing imaginable. That's
And
just
I was doing some pretty. I was not a good person until like after maybe 4 or 5. I was like, oh, let's okay. I see where this is going now. Let's make some changes here. But
Yeah, I mean, even like the subtle changes with like the tombstone after the fact,
yes,
how people talk about you.
yeah, people like Mickey and stuff like that. Like I was for some reason there was I guess there was either I wasn't having a good day, but I was mean to Mickey, which is one of the homeless guys, and he literally says like, not always the nicest guy, but I could tell he was a good person, and it's like, oh fuck, I should have been nicer to Mickey.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things where like at the time, like this is gonna sound a little dumb, but like even in my playthrough of almost any game, I feel inclined to be the good guy
yeah.
because like it's just I don't know, like
Thing.
like I enjoy. There's moments where I'll do like shitty things, but that's usually if I can hit save and revert back to that save
Oh, so quick
after I've
saving in like
after I've done the
Fallout
shitty
games
thing. Yeah.
or Skyrim.
Because I'm always curious to see what will happen. But like with that one in particular, I was like, I knew the honor system was there for a reason. I was like, all right, I don't know if this is gonna do something to the ending or whatnot. Let me just run through it as a good person. And then once I got it on PC, I make it a policy to antagonize every single person that I can. Um, to take that as far as it will go. I will lasso people, just wherever they are in the middle of nowhere, invade their camp. It's just fun. I don't like obviously I'm a shitty person doing that, but I don't know. Just one of
Well, the
those things where like,
thing
all
with
right,
the morality system, like what's the one on the PlayStation? Infamous. Yeah, that's
yeah,
Oh
the one.
yeah,
Infamous.
Yes,
yeah.
lightning superpower guy. So yeah, the Infamous, where like you go and play through it. You play through it one way, like, and most people usually play through it good. I say most people, but then like once you play through it that way, yeah, you want to see how the other side lives, so you go play through it. And the problem with those kind of morality games is that developers normally always make the better stuff always on the good side.
Yeah,
Like when it comes to if it's a you get different powers or abilities kind of thing depending on like what your alignment is, good stuff is usually always better, but the the bad stuff usually is like a power hit, or like you get more power initially, but in the long run good's always better. So they always still steer you towards going one direction or the other, especially with like game endings. With in this game, you got a good end or a bad end, and you know exactly which one is which, even though it's technically the same outcome. It's just how you get to it and how it's
yeah.
portrayed.
Um, yeah,
But yeah, it depends on if the game is good enough or it's just it can keep my attention. Yeah, I'll go be a dick.
it's just especially with I mean, I keep saying cheat. Like Lenny's simple trainer is fucking ridiculous because you can make your character tiny Like, and when I say tiny, I mean like little, like small soldiers tiny.
Hey, Jim,
But
tiny horse.
the gun is still the same size. So you just have like a fucking holster, and it's taking up your entire body. You are the size of the holster now.
Have you seen where they make the horse really? I mean, and I'm not
Yeah.
quoting the Saturday Night Live bit, but where there's like a mod where you can make your horse like super tiny, and it just looks like you're like riding the smallest tricycle like down.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. So it's like I highly encourage you, if you have the PC version, to try that.
I want to play
that
it with
trainer.
cheats. That's my. I'd rather play it the same level, maybe even play it like better, but with cheats. That way, I'm not looking to like steal gold bars from every campsite I can find or gold nuggets, and yeah.
So we're coming up on the nearly 2-hour mark.
Mm.
I feel like we probably need to reconvene this when some other members in our party finally finish the.
Well, that's the thing.
But
I don't know if anybody is currently playing it.
I think Todd might be.
Oh,
Andrew
Todd
said
did
he
get it.
hasn't
That's right. He
finished it
did.
yet.
I am
So
on and off. Not much.
Hey, Todd.
Hello.
So, like, Andrew might start playing it because this little discussion might reinvigorate him, might give him the muse to start.
I mean, it's just I don't know. It's
It's
one
a
of those
big
just.
commitment.
It
It's a
is.
huge
It
fucking
is.
game.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of my overall problem with any game these days. Is like, I knew going in Red Dead Redemption 2 was going to be a huge commitment. I knew even God of War Ragnarok was going to be a huge commitment. I'm
Yeah.
very choosy with how I spend my time in games now. Like if I feel like there's like a huge grind behind it, I'm probably not going to participate. I had another coworker today that was like, I play Final Fantasy X every single year, and I'm just like,
What the fuck?
I can't
Wait,
do
which
that.
one?
Final Fantasy X, that's their favorite.
Oh, the one with the famous laugh. Yeah. I
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, the most famous laugh, Jim.
Not the most famous laugh, but
bar
all right.
none. I mean,
There wasn't even voice acting in the one that you claim is the famous one.
the old
Laugh
argument.
in your head.
Yeah, it's interesting to like I wonder now if I'm going to have another game that I'm super excited about, and people are going to be like, "Oh man, I just don't understand." 5 years from now, if we're like, "Oh man, this was the best game I ever played." Only
I
time
do
will
think
tell.
that you probably say that God of War, both God of War and Ragnarok, are both better than this game.
Um,
I need to play Ragnarok, but I'm gonna wait for PC release.
No, I wouldn't say that they're better necessarily. This is the same question I get asked basically when I'm trying to like, they're like, "Oh, what's your favorite movie of all time?" or "What's your favorite book of all time?" I don't have favorites. I have ones that I would say I elevate above all others equally. So like and it changes with when I get older. They're like back in the day I probably would have said that like the Lord of the Rings trilogy is the best thing ever. It's the best movie series ever, or Star Wars, or it's just like there's a constant. Yeah. Shut up, Nick. There's a constant like ebb and flow. Like I watched the menu last night and I enjoyed it. Probably not my favorite movie of all time, but like flip that. Conversely, I'm watching The Last of Us as well. Extremely good show, in my opinion.
So I heard somebody say, instead of asking like what's your favorite movie or favorite book of all time, what they say is what movie or book have you watched the most, or have seen the most, or like have read the most? And that can
So
usually tell you something that you'll keep going back to over and over.
yeah, like, and this is not an exaggeration. I've literally read the Harry Potter books hundreds of times. Hundreds. The third book
Have you
in
found any new side
particular,
quests?
it's not the side quest aspects. It's like, and it's, you always hear people are like, "Oh, I go back because you always find something else that you missed." Rarely does that happen now, but it's more of like, it's the comfort food aspect, I guess, of it. But like Prisoner of Azkaban is my favorite of all time. I've probably have read that at least 300 times. At least. Um Probably more if I'm being completely honest with you.
So would you say it's your favorite book series?
Um
Like if
my
you
my
taking
opinion
out
of it,
taking
yeah,
out
I
of
know, I
account
know.
like the
The
well,
recent
it's not the
events.
best book series, but your favorite book series. You can be objective and saying
I hate
this
that
is
question.
this is like
I
junk
don't think
food, but
any.
I love it.
It's
I
it's
agree.
hard for me. It's hard for me to say. Um, I don't know. It's just my taste changes every year.
Yeah,
Like objectively
exactly.
looking at it now, it, because I've read it so much, it should be considered my favorite series of all time. And if I, with children eventually, it'd be one of those things where like, okay, this is one of my essentials. I have to, tell them the story at some point. But also, like, I appreciate Lord of the Rings more than I have ever before. I appreciate, like, I'm really into fucking mystery thrillers all of a sudden. Don't know why. Um, I recently reread the Girl with the Dragon Tattoo series. Just the first 3 books, because that's really the ones that matter.
and that, and
Anything
that's
past
and
that,
that's where like the conversation of like, oh, it's the best. Like, if you, I don't know, if you're, I think if you're a mature adult, you know when something is good or when something is bad, versus when something is not your taste versus what is your taste. Girl
yeah,
with the Dragon Tattoo books, I read the trilogy, the first trilogy. I was so bored by them, but
yeah,
I know those books are good. I know those
yeah.
books are good. Um,
It's
I
and
have I
it's
just
sorry. I mean, it's hard also, and this pains me to say it. I used to be a very avid reader. I would read tons and tons and tons of books
oh, this is my
religiously.
struggle right now.
It's hard for me to pick up a book and finish it to completion now.
And that's number one. I think that's okay. Number two, if you're just not a fucking reader, who gives a shit? Like
I
however you want to consume media, consume
Yeah,
it.
Yeah, that's
like
what I say.
the painful thing for me, and I feel, and maybe this is a weird side effect of it. I feel more intelligent after I've read something. And this isn't like an article or what have you, but like if I finish something, and it doesn't have to be particularly like mind blowing, I just feel like, okay, I I read something, I accomplished this. It's now part of the fabric of my being in some cases. And maybe
I feel a
that's like
sense of accomplishment, but not more intelligent.
well, maybe that's like the writing side of me, is like I can use this
Um,
as like inspiration to, because I anytime I read something, or even like watching the menu last night, I felt inspired to write something. I didn't, because I'm currently trying to work through chapter 2, and my god, chapter 2 is having some fucking issues right now, let me tell you. It got to one of those things where, like, I'm gonna be honest with you, am I gonna beat myself up a lot if I don't finish that series this year? Probably a little bit, but at the same time, I'm now realizing I'm already on chapter 2, and I'm like, well, I've got the story I want to tell. Am I going to be able to stretch it out over 12 chapters? Or like pacing is going to be a real challenge because you're reading this once a month, essentially. So it's just one of those things where, like, are you going to have a refresher every time you read it? Because you're basically putting a book down 12 times a year.
Yeah.
So
There are, so I'm not one of those people that like I definitely want quality for when it comes to books. So I told myself like, hey, I want to read 12 books this year. Like I haven't done that in years. Now that I'm in a space where I feel like I can do that eventually. I can do that this year. Like the first book I read this year was I read The Silmarillion. I finally finished reading The Silmarillion. Now, I did feel smarter after reading that, but only about Tolkien stuff. Then I read the Cinema Speculation by Quentin Tarantino, which is just essays on his favorite movies. I read that in like 4 days because it was just so easy to read. Then I was gonna start Tolkien's Unfinished Tales, but I don't know. I kept getting signs that I should jump into something a little juicier, and so I just picked up a book that is over 1,200 pages, and it is Brandon Sanderson's The Way of Kings.
When you going to read Infinite Jest?
When am I going to read what?
Infinite Jest?
What about War and Peace?
Yeah.
Oh, no. No,
and I don't
you.
know. I have a lot of friends that are like, oh, you should really get into audiobooks. And
I can't pay attention good enough.
So Julia is crushing it in terms of like her goal. She and this is not at all an exaggeration. She is at any given time, she has at least one audiobook, one physical book, and one digital book that she is literally rotating constantly.
Yeah, my brain would die.
I don't know how she does it. I don't know how she focuses, because for me, if I had a long commute like I did back in the day, I could do audiobooks then, because I listen to podcasts every once in a while. But for audiobooks, because my commute is so short now, I can't get into it long enough, because by the time I get to work, I've listened to maybe, I don't know, it takes 10 minutes to get to work. So 10 minutes of the story, you look at the remaining bits of an audiobook and it's like, you've got 14 hours to get through before this is done. And that drains the fuck out of me when I see that, because I'm just like, oh my god, it's gonna take 14 hours. Yeah, it's just like starting a show that is 7 seasons deep, has finished, but is at least 20 to 30 episodes per season. Overwhelming. I am probably never going to watch that show. I will just read the Wikipedia for each season, call it a day. Yeah, it's just such an investment of time. So to kind of circle back to all of this, to say, is God of War objectively, I rank them equally. I don't have a favorite game of all time. I don't have a favorite movie of all time. I have memories that I have enjoyed with everything in certain games. I have recommendations to where if someone's like, what is a good game that I should play? I'm like, you should play this set of games. I had a blast playing them. You put them on a pedestal now and say like, oh my goodness, this was the greatest thing I've ever played. Very difficult for me to do, because I had an emotional reaction at the end of Last of Us. I'm sorry, Red Dead Redemption Part 2, I also had the same kind of reaction at the end of God of War Ragnarok. It's what impacts me the most now, and how I just appreciate the journey that I was able to take for that brief moment. That's it.
No, because unless it's like a real small game, or it's a game like it's like a currentish game that's still being updated, so there's still like new stuff I'm seeing. I'm not really the type to go back and like replay a game just to see if the like just to play the game again. Like
Hard
uh,
for me to do. It's extremely difficult.
yeah, it's like I'm not in love with any of their aesthetics so much that I would have to keep going. Like I would want to keep going back to it. Now, if they like remade a game, or like it was an updated, like they added some different stuff to it, maybe it was a remaster, I would go back and play that. But like you said, that one person who like they'll play Final Fantasy 7 once a year, it's like mm, I'm not getting anything else out of that. That's some old strange I'm not looking to tame again.
And it's kind of like, it's almost like I would love to have the time to go back to play some stuff again to enjoy it. Um, like I go back to Harry Potter again. Like, yes, I've reread them so many times, but the um the urge to like pick those books up right now and read them like right now is very, very low.
Like you're just not feeling it.
I'm not feeling it.
Yeah, no, I get that. And actually, now that I'm looking at my game collection, there is something that I do go back to, and that's playing Burnout Paradise. I'll keep going back to play that, but I feel like that's a very different experience than the narrative driven ones that we're talking about.
Yeah, because like once you know the story, you appreciate the story for what it was. And it's kind of like revisiting an old friend. Like, yeah, you're gonna go back and play it again, and you'll probably enjoy it again. But eventually it's gonna give you diminishing returns.
Yeah,
And I feel I can read, like I can read the first Harry Potter book in a day at this stage. If I literally had nothing, and this is never gonna happen again in my adult life. God damn, I wish I was still a kid sometimes. If I had an entire Saturday where it was just nothing to do at all whatsoever, no responsibilities or anything, I could knock out that book in a day still
have you
if I
tried being
wanted
a
to.
piece of shit? It's really fun.
The problem now is that those 2 days, and this is not new news for anybody. I feel like I have to be up and doing something productive,
Reading a book is productive.
but not the whole day. So this is
Oh, I
my
literally couldn't stay
weekends.
awake. Yeah.
My weekends now is dedicated basically to experiences broken up into little chunks so that I feel like I have accomplished something. Um, so like Hogwarts Legacy, for instance, I cannot spend all day Saturday playing it. I eventually get to a point where I'm like, I need to stop and take a break. And I may not play it for 4 or 5 hours. And then I'll pick it up again in the evening because I have to fill something else in that time.
You
It's
have to
because
feel
otherwise,
something else or fill
no,
it with
not
something else.
like fill it with
Oh, okay.
not meaningless things, but like, okay, maybe I need to go to the grocery store, or maybe I need to do some laundry, or maybe I'll read or watch some YouTube channels about like some research or something for an hour. I have to do multiple things in a day on the weekend before I feel like um where I feel like that entire weekend was wasted. That's not to say I still don't do it from time to time. Like when Julia was out of town for the trip she took with her mom, happened to be the same weekend that God of War Ragnarok came out. I probably spent a little bit too much time playing that game, but I also stopped multiple times because I didn't want it to end. And I'm sure, Jim, you were kind of the same way.
That's
At
called
some point,
edging.
No,
yeah, it
no, it's
is.
called going to completion. But here's the thing, Jeff, is I mean, I'm not going to like fix your life because everybody knows that I can do that very easily. But
Oh,
I would say,
really?
like, did anyone starve? Were the dogs fed?
Yeah.
It's fine. If you
I
don't
get
do
I get what you're
something for
saying.
one day, the
Yeah, I
world's
get what you're
not
saying.
going to implode.
I I know what you're saying, and this is
And I get it. This is how you're feel. This is how you feel. This is how you've run for a while. And I'm saying, it's like, give into the hedonism of just wanting to read a book.
it's become a little bit different since uh my medical stuff cropped up.
Mm.
Ah.
A lot of that changed my outlook on things. And things are good
Mm.
now. Things are good now.
Okay.
But it's one of those things where you're like, what's the best way to put it without getting too morbid? It's not that I like had a moment where like in like the movies or whatever, they were like, oh my goodness, I only have a finite amount of time life am I left. I don't view life like that, but it did kind of reorient a lot of like my um
Priorities.
priorities. Yeah, that'd probably be the best way to put it. So
Okay.
sorry, Todd.
But
I this whole podcast got a little bit derailed, but this is um it's been good conversation. I don't want to run this, and I don't mean to cut anybody off, but I feel like it's probably a good time to end since we've firmly left the Red Dead Redemption train station at this stage.
what's Red Dead Redemption?
Oh man, it's this game where you play as a cowboy and you just
Oh, you're talking about Gun. Oh, okay.
yeah. Do y'all have any closing thoughts before we tune out?
What's your favorite spaghetti western?
Oh,
For
Probably
both y'all.
Fistful of Dollars.
So good. Great soundtrack. Oh god.
yeah. You know what? I will agree with that.
Good choices.
It's iconic.
It is. Sergio Leone, man. Out of all the spaghetti western directors named Sergio, he's definitely the most famous.
I mean,
There's a lot of them.
good,
Yeah,
the
I was
bad, and
gonna
the
say,
ugly.
like, that's a good amount.
The good, the bad, and the ugly is probably a close second for me. I will say
That
that.
movie's long.
Oh yeah, I mean for sure. But what is movie length these days?
I know. Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. How long is it compared to the Hateful Eight?
Well, I mean, if the Hateful Eight version that I like is 4 hours long.
Hateful Eight runtime was 2 hours and 55 minutes. The good, the bad, and the ugly was 177 minutes, so just shy of 3 hours. 2.95
My
hours.
favorite
It's the
spaghetti
Spaghetti
western.
Eastern Lawrence of Arabia.
It is Cutthroat's
Jesus.
9. And
That sounds
it
like
is
a what is that? What is that? God, what is that movie? That filmmaker who does like really
David Lynch.
crappy.
John Waters.
David Lynch.
No. Trogma. Not
Trauma?
Lars von Trier.
Trauma.
Trauma.
Yeah,
Oh.
okay.
I love Trauma.
Yeah,
Dude.
Jim does love his trauma, doesn't he?
That's literally where you said that. I was like, is this a Trauma production?
Cutthroats 9. No, it's a very serious movie. It's an hour and 30 minutes. Bandits attack a wagon load of convicts, and only a sergeant, his daughter, and 7 sadistic prisoners survive. The sergeant must get his prisoners to their destination. A web of lies, greed, and betrayal unfolds.
You know what we need to do?
Oh, didn't they
Nick?
remake that with Goldberg? It was like
Oh my god,
the convicts or something.
Nick. You have a projector, right?
I do.
I already requested a double feature real soon with Nick's projector.
I was about to say, like, I'm gonna humbly request an audience a showing at your house sometime.
Well, the
Oh,
one I
that
requested was
Goldberg
Mad
movie?
Heidi and Kill Her Goats.
Oh yeah, I meant to look that up. What is that?
Oh,
I mean,
Killer Goats looks
I'll
awesome.
show up for it, but no, this is good, guys. I think this is a great conversation. I appreciate y'all doing this tonight. I'm not gonna torture you all with hokey old timey talk like I did in the intro. So I will just say you all have a great night. Thank you for tuning in, and we will be back not next week, but the week after.
With a
Have a great night.
Tarantino themed podcast.
I'm washing my hair that day.
Thank you all. Take care.